Greetings, YouTube. Forgive the hood. I'm chilly at the moment. I want you to imagine for a minute a world without discrimination laws, where it is not against the law to discriminate in any way, shape, or form. Where anyone who wants to, who owns a business, could slap a whites-only sign up in their front window. Anyone that owns rental property could just say, "You, person of color, get out. You, gay person, leave. You, Muslim, go away." And they would have no legal recourse. Where a shop owner that sold groceries could decide that people of color pay 20% more, because why not? Where even if a person of color could get a loan, or a Muslim could get a loan, they would be paying 2 to 3 times the interest rate, because they can, and there's nothing stopping them. Where stop and frisk becomes every day everywhere, because there's no laws saying they can't do it. Where they can just arrest you because you're a person of color walking down the street. Or, oh, you're wearing a turban in public? Well, that's an arresting. They'll make up some charge, of course. But since there aren't any anti-discrimination laws, there's nothing stopping them. At all. Ever. Now, you can well imagine that in a very short order, people of color and the gay community and religious minorities would, at best, be marginalized into ghettos, if not driven completely out of some communities. And it may even be worse than sundown towns. It could be to the point where they can't enter an area at all. Not just during the daylight hours, but ever. What's going to stop them? Now, you'd be saying to yourself, well, that's absurd, Tetsubo. We've come so far. You're right, we have come so far. We have much further to go, mind you, but we've gotten beyond that level of discrimination. The level of discrimination that people in America are dealing with now is much more subtle for the most part, unless you're a person of color encountering the cops when they just shoot you for no reason. Yeah, if you want to murder someone in America, be a white cop and kill a person of color. You'll get away with it. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is an example of the absurdity of what a libertarian society would look like. Now, there are going to be libertarians who are going to instantly hop on me and say that I am living up to the straw man version of libertarian political structure. And I'm going to tell you I'm not. Every libertarian I've ever met, and I've discussed the whole concept of putting the whites-only sign up in their storefront, has said yes. Under a libertarian society, a shop owner could put up a whites-only sign in their storefront. If that is true, if that single solitary aspect of libertarian society is true, then everything I just postulated will be the ramification thereof. Those will be the consequences of making the decision, it's okay to discriminate if you want. All you have to do is extrapolate that one act, that whites-only sign. And then everything else just falls into place like dominoes. There's a reason we did away with these things, because they are morally repugnant. But the social structure of a libertarian society says they're okay. And the reason I've pretty much stopped arguing politically with libertarians on this topic is that I've come to realize that libertarian political platform isn't a political platform. It's a religion. I can't prove my faith to you, because spiritual experience and connection to the divine isn't something that you can prove or disprove. And I firmly believe it doesn't make it any less real. And you can't prove or disprove the political structure of the Libertarian Party either, because it doesn't exist. It can't exist. It has never existed. There have always been those who advocated this position, and they've been marginalized over the decades and centuries because we as a people have realized that it's morally repugnant. And yet the libertarians want to hop on board with this. This is why there are so many white supremacists that love the Libertarian Party. Why so many libertarians are screamingly white, and why so few members are people of color. Because the people of color can smell it. The people of color can look at it and see what that means. They don't need to actually do it to know how horrible it is, any more than I need to do it to see how horrible a libertarian society would be socially. It would be the elimination of civil liberties and human rights for huge swaths of humanity in America. And another counter-argument I'll hear is, well, they can sue. Really? How? What lawyers? The people giving the law degrees out are white. The people running the classes that give law degrees are white. The judges are white. And all it takes is one majority white community to start the ball rolling. One. And like a snowball at the top of a mountain, it'll just pick up steam. There's no way to stop it. Once you decide that discrimination doesn't exist because you want to live in a fantasy where it doesn't exist, the rest all falls into place. A world without discrimination laws is a world of discrimination. Period. It is a world that embraces discrimination. It is a world that is proud of its discrimination. And I haven't even touched on the insanity of the fiscal structure of the libertarian politics. So, without discrimination laws, there would only be discrimination. No person of color would have any rights. Very shortly, no woman would have access to any kind of birth control or reproductive rights. They would never reach fiscal parity with males, ever. And remember, you hear all the time you hear that women make 77% of what men do over the course of their lives? That's for white women. Black women and brown women, they make far less than 77%. But we ignore that. Why? Because currently the people in charge of our society are men. It doesn't affect them. What do they care? It's invisible to them. That is their privilege. But a world without discrimination laws is not a world I want to live in. And I don't want America to become a place without discrimination laws. I don't want to become a world where there are poll taxes and literacy tests to vote, where gay people can be barred from cake shops or hotels because they're gay, where Muslims can be barred from gun shops or rifle ranges or anywhere else they want to go because, well, you're a Muslim. I want to live in an America where everyone is treated equally under the law, which is why I oppose libertarian politics so vehemently. It is a fantasy of white male Christian supremacy. And it's so dangerous because it's convinced its adherents that it is the shining flag of freedom. Well, yes, if you're a white Christian male, straight person, I guess it is the shining flag of freedom. If you're anyone else, though, it isn't.